Hi, beautiful people. How are you? This is Bethany Gagne, founder of Numinous, the organization that sponsors the Global Peaceful Cities Project. This is the 12th video of 14 that I'm doing as far as living the field as a consciousness athlete. Because there are many people that have been kind of studying law of attraction, intention, those types of things for years. And it's coming into its own discipline. It's a way of being. It's a way of walking in this world where you recognize that you're connected to something far larger than yourself. And how does that play out in everyday life? So today, what I want to talk about is, you could sum it up this way. This is what I call it. I say surrendered is the new powerful. Surrendered is the new powerful. Now, people hate that. Ego, if you don't know what I'm talking about, the ego is kind of like, surrendered, that's ridiculous, and I'm not talking about what maybe traditional surrender would be, or the traditional emotional way of surrender. No, I'm talking about an energetic place in your energy field that is actually quite powerful. So when I say surrendered is the new powerful, I actually mean that. Okay, so just to give you an example, this is one example. I was trying to think about how I was going to share this today, but I remember years ago, I always like to study best practices. I always like to study with the highest and best people that are getting the best results. And this one gentleman was actually a well-known healer that they had done a lot of research around. And I remember when he came out on stage, I just kind of kept looking at that guy, and I was like, why am I like so enamored with this guy and how he like walks around on stage, and what is that about? And I realized what it was, and that was this healer was actually they had done research about him where he could kind of wave his hand and trees could grow taller and fruits and vegetables grew better, and he would just wave his hand like a magic wand, and goodness would happen all over. And what I realized, that I think that why I was so enamored by this gentleman and how he walked is that he had absolutely zero stress in his body. It was a completely surrendered body. Now, doesn't that make sense? If you could wave your hand and have vegetables grow faster and beautiful things happen all around you, like, wouldn't you walk around with absolutely zero stress in your body, right? And I'm going to suggest to you, actually, it's true. Like, you can do that, right? And so that's when I recognized, that was like when I first started kind of seeing this. Then I've also done a lot of intensive EEG work, which is basically brainwave work. Working with Judith Pennington, who's like the world's authority on mind mirror EEG, which is basically EEG for meditation, and learning more about biofeedback, and the idea that when we're studying when we're measuring biofeedback, basically things that we measure from the body and through instruments that we measure, basically the more elevated kind of the brain waves, the more surrendered the body is. Okay, so you will see these markers of low stress in the body of people with heightened states of consciousness and heightened levels of awareness. Okay, so understanding that, now, doesn't that make sense, right? Because if you are permeable to the field, which is what we do in the consciousness athlete training, we are training on how to make ourselves kind of permeable to the field, right? So we're throwing stuff overboard all the time. Especially in our energy field, we're cleansing, and to make ourselves permeable to the field, so that the energy, all that is intelligent love that comes through us, we can just come through us as an unhampered vessel, right? So it's this idea that, because that's why the healer could do that, right? Because there's nothing that's hitting, as the energy's coming through him, that he's not hitting any blocks as it's going through him to go to wherever it is, okay? So surrendered is the new powerful. So how do we apply this? Essentially, what you want to do is, and this is why I call it a consciousness athlete, because I'm going to tell you, this is simple, but this ain't easy. This is not easy. And that is that you're constantly training the body to stay surrendered, constantly training to let go, let go, right? And if you are untrained, you will constantly find things happening. Okay, your shoulders up, your jaw tight, whatever it is, and the only way through this is to stare it down, and to stare it down, and to stare it down. That's why in the Consciousness Athlete program, we are training ourselves to become aware of this fidelity. Is that the right word? With the field and our. Geez, that's not even the kind of like the interplay between us and the field. So you can practice this by the next time you find yourself stressed out or whatever, back up. Like recently, something happened, and I'll literally just stop, and I will literally just sit on the sofa for a little bit, and I just kind of imagine, almost like, I keep getting this image of like a dog that comes in and it's wet, and it just comes in and just shakes itself off, right? I mean, that's what I want to do. I just want to like just like out. I don't want it in here, because I will be creating from it if it's in here. And so this idea of kind of shaking things off. It's hard because because we feel so much stronger when we have like musculature, or we feel tense, like somehow we feel like we're ready to fight, we're ready to take on the world, and it's counterintuitive that you're actually more effective at taking on the world when you're actually surrendered. Just to give more credence to this, I remember Dr. Joe Dispenza, talking about how he manifests the most when he's tired and giddy, right? So it's this idea where you're just completely like, almost like who was that, Gumby, right? Or, ragdoll, right? I'll see a ragdoll. I'll see, one of my most powerful images is this image of just surrenderedness, basically. And then, things will happen around him when he's just, giddy and tired. And so think about it. When you're tired, right, your defenses are down. You don't have all that energy in your muscles, and you're taking on the world, right? So anyways, I hope this is helpful. We start to see how this law of attraction is way more than just your thoughts. It's all about your energy field and your commerce with the world. And, the good news is, people don't realize it's actually supposed to be fun, okay? Life is brutal, if you haven't noticed. It's quite brutal, and I never want to downplay that, okay? But when you play with this work long enough, and it takes you through some really difficult times, then you really start to get that anything that comes your way that plucks your energy like that is a beautiful opportunity to practice mastery. Is it fun? Would you prefer to learn mastery another way? Absolutely. But unfortunately, sometimes it's really when the chips are down that we really get our spiritual stripes, or when we've really earned them. And these are the times where I literally would say that's spiritual warriorship. A lot of people hate that phrase. If you stare down your cell tissue at these levels, you totally get what spiritual warriorship is, because it's meeting yourself at the deepest cellular quantum level, and you kind of rising above it and not allowing it to pluck you, but to actually kind of come into command over it. So anyways, I hope this is helpful. This is 12 out of 14 that I'm doing. Then I'm gonna go back behind the scenes. I've been so blessed to be working with so many new people. So much fun, loving it. And people are writing meditations for the new Peace Project, which I've finally come up with the final name for it. I'm calling it the Consciousness Peace Project. Finally, I've been changing names for it the whole time, but working behind the scenes, and these people have been amazing medicine to me, sharing that there are other people that know exactly this level of work, and they're willing to put forth their efforts, and they're actually telling me they're enjoying it a great bit as well. If you would ever like to make a meditation that we could use, I'd greatly appreciate it, because it's so much more fun when you have a bunch of people. All the platforms I always do, I love to have a bunch of different people with different energies, and it's so much more creative that way and more fun. So please come on and consider it, and thank you all so much, and I will